Welcome students. As you have read in previous class, we have discussed what is mean by adsorption, and we have discussed various terms. One was called as adsorbate, second was called as adsorbent, and the next term was desorption. You have read what is adsorbent. As you know, it is the surface on which adsorption takes place. For example, it is a solid, whatever. And the material and the substance which gets absorbed is called as adsorbate, right? So now, and the second concept we have discussed was desorption. Desorption means breakdown of the intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Clear? And next point we have learned that enthalpy of adsorption. You know, enthalpy of adsorption means when one mole of adsorbate combines with one mole of the adsorbent, the energy released is called enthalpy of adsorption. Now today our first concept is that can be called as thermodynamics of adsorption. Let me discuss thermodynamics of adsorption. So what according to thermodynamics? What thermodynamics will give us information about adsorption. As you have read in your previous class, Gibbs-Helmholtz equation, that is delta G is equal to delta H minus T times delta S. As you know, delta G represents change in Gibbs energy, delta H represents change in enthalpy, delta S represents change in entropy. And you have already read that if for a process delta G is equal to negative, if for a process delta G is equal to negative, that means the process is spontaneous. As you have read, the next point you have read, if delta G is equal to positive, the process is non-spontaneous. It can be also called a non-feasible process. And the next point you have read that when delta G is equal to 0, so we can say process is at equilibrium. This confirms that adsorption is only spontaneous when delta G is negative. So how delta G will come out to be negative, or we can say how, when delta G becomes negative, this can be described on the basis of delta H factor as well as delta S factor, keeping the temperature constant. Now, as you have read, in case of adsorption, as you have read, there is decrease in enthalpy. That enthalpy is called as enthalpy of adsorption. Actually, you have read, there is decrease in the surface energy that appears in the form of enthalpy of adsorption. Got it? So the concept is very much simple. Delta H for adsorption is negative because there is formation of new intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Because of the formation of the intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, energy is released that appears in the form of enthalpy of adsorption. That's why delta H comes out to be negative. So remember this point, for adsorption there is decrease in enthalpy. The second point, as you have read about entropy, as you have read, entropy means the measurement of random motion. Yeah, you can say other words, it is the measurement of complexions present in a system. Because of the formation of intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, there is decrease in the number of complexions, or you can say there is decrease in the random motion. Remember, because of the intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, there is decrease in entropy because of decrease in the number of complexions. So remember, for adsorption you can write delta S comes out to be negative. Why it comes out to be negative? It is because of the decrease in the number of complexions when adsorbate combines with adsorbent. So for every student must know that whenever adsorption takes place, energy is released. So delta H comes out to be negative. and there is decrease in the number of complexions, we can say there is decrease in the random motion by forming intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. So these values will put in the Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. Let me discuss these values. Let me put these values in the Gibbs-Helmholtz equation. So we can write here delta G is equal to, in spite of delta H, you know delta H comes out to be negative because energy is released. It's minus T, delta S comes out to be negative because there is decrease in entropy because of decrease in the number of complexions. So delta H comes out to be negative, delta S comes also negative because of the forming intermolecular force. Now I can write here delta G is equal to negative, this minus and minus, it comes out to be plus into T. So you have got two values there. You have got delta G equal to negative and delta S equal to positive. But remember, you know from the previous class, only on the basis of delta H value, we cannot decide whether a process is spontaneous or non-spontaneous. In the likewise, on the basis of delta S value, we cannot decide whether a process is spontaneous or non-spontaneous. So you have to take both factors. This value is for delta H and this value is for delta S. Here arises two concepts. The concept number first is when the value of delta H is greater than the value of delta S. If you have got delta H value greater than that of delta S, if delta H value is greater than that of the delta S, then we can say here delta G will be negative. That means process is spontaneous. Process is spontaneous only when you have got the magnitude of delta H greater than that of the magnitude of delta S, right? And number second concept arises if the magnitude of delta H is less than the magnitude of delta S. That means if delta S is greater than that of the delta H, then you have got delta G will come out to be positive. That means process is non-spontaneous. So there arises two queries. I may repeat a point. If the magnitude of delta H is greater than that of delta S, then delta G will come out to be negative. Means process is spontaneous. The second point, if delta H is less than delta S, then delta G will be positive. The process is non-spontaneous. Now there arises a query when it will be spontaneous and when it will be non-spontaneous. Now it's very much simple. The value of delta H is greater than the value of delta S only when temperature is low. Remember it. Remember this point. Remember the point. At low temperature, and I here at low temperature, it has been seen that value of delta H is greater than that of the value of delta S. That means at low temperature, value of delta H is greater than the value of delta S. That means at low temperature, delta G will come out to be negative and process will be spontaneous. I can say here like this: at low temperature, delta H is greater than delta S. Delta G means negative. That means adsorption will be spontaneous. That means adsorption will be spontaneous only at low temperature, because at low temperature the value of delta H is greater than the value of delta S. However, at high temperature, what happens? I write here next point. These are very important points as far as your need level is concerned. So I write here at high temperature, the value of delta H is less than the value of delta S. That means at high temperature, delta H is less than that of delta S, and at this time delta G will be positive. Whenever delta G will be positive, the process is non-spontaneous. From these two important points, we have learned that adsorption is spontaneous only at low temperature. Remember it. This signifies that, I'll repeat, this signifies that adsorption is spontaneous only at low temperature, whereas at high temperature it is non-spontaneous. From this above discussion, you have to remember three important points. Number one important point is that according to the thermodynamics of adsorption states three important points. Point number first, during adsorption energy is released. Number one. Number second, during adsorption entropy is getting decreased. Number third point, adsorption is spontaneous only at low temperature, whereas at high temperature it becomes non-spontaneous. Now this was the information about the enthalpy of adsorption. Now you have a second very important question as far as surface chemistry is concerned. A very important question as far as your board exams are concerned, that can be called as types of adsorption. A very important concept again, that can be called as types of adsorption. It has been seen that there are two types of adsorption. Remember, two types of adsorption. Number first is called as physical adsorption. Number first is called physical adsorption. Number second is called chemical. Number first is called physical adsorption. Number second is called chemical adsorption. So there are how many types of adsorption now? Two. One is called as physical adsorption and second is called as chemical adsorption. Now when we look forward, what is mean by physical adsorption and what is mean by chemical adsorption? I told you this is very important class as far as the board exams are concerned. Let me discuss first what is mean by physical adsorption. Very important concept as far as board is concerned. Let me take first. It's called as physical adsorption. What is mean by physical adsorption? So first of all, I will repeat a point. The surface on which adsorption takes place is called as adsorbent, and the gas which gets adsorbed on the surface is called as adsorbate. So what is the first point as far as physical adsorption is concerned? The first point, as you know, say this is the surface. As you know, solid surface is called adsorbent. The gas which gets adsorbed is called as adsorbate. First of all, these points must be clear to the student. What is adsorbate and what is the adsorbent? So let me come to the physical adsorption. Physical adsorption means when there are present physical forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. When there are physical forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. What do you mean by the physical forces here? It actually means when there are van der Waals forces. When there are van der Waals forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, this type of adsorption is called as physical adsorption. Remember, what is physical? When there are van der Waals forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, that type of adsorption is called as physical adsorption, or it is also called as van der Waals adsorption because of the presence of van der Waals force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. It is also written as physiadsorption. Physiadsorption. You can call it as physical adsorption You can call it as van der Waals adsorption, or you can call it as physical adsorption. Means there is only present physical forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Point number second. This type of adsorption takes place on those surfaces where there is present surface tension. Next point is, this type of adsorption takes place only on those surfaces, only on those adsorbents which have got surface tension. Next point, during physical adsorption, there is release of 20 to 40 kilojoules per mole of energy. This is very important point. How much energy is released? It is 20 to 40 kilojoules per mole. That means the enthalpy of physical adsorption is 20 to 40 joules. 20 to 40 kilojoules per mole. This is the same value as that of most of the gases are getting condensed. We don't have to think about the gas at this stage. We have discussed the energy release, that's equal to 20 to 40 kilojoules per mole. And the next point, this type of adsorption is reversible. Remember it. This type of adsorption is reversible. What does reversible means here? As you know, when adsorbate combines with the adsorbent to undergo adsorption, you can break also the bond between adsorbate and adsorbent. After break, they can be once again combined with each other, and there can again take place adsorption. That's called as reversible. And this type of adsorption is multi-layer. It's not a single layer, it's a multi-layered adsorption. Multi-layer means, first of all, if you are taking the one layer of coat on any surface, there can be second layer of coating on the surface. As many as layers you can take on the walls, that denotes it is multi-layered. And the next important point, this type of adsorption decreases due to increase in temperature. If you increase the temperature on the physical adsorption, there is decrease in the adsorption. There is breakdown of the intermolecular force between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. That I mean to say, physical adsorption is feasible only at low temperature. So these were the few points about physical. So what is the first point which you learn? The first point is, there are physical forces, means van der Waals forces between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Number second, we have learned that this type of adsorption takes place on those surfaces which have got only surface tension. The second concept is, during physical adsorption there is release of 20 to 40 kilojoules per mole of energy. This type of adsorption is reversible in nature. The next point, it is multi-layered, and the last point is that due to the increase in temperature, there is decrease in physical adsorption. Now let me take the second one, that's called as chemical adsorption. The second concept, that is the chemical adsorption. Let me take the chemical adsorption into account. So what is meant by chemical adsorption? First of all, I will remind you, when the surface is having the residual valence. Remember the point. Residual valence, I told you in the previous lecture. Residual valence means unsatisfied valencies, which have got those surfaces which have got unsatisfied valencies. These valencies are called as residual valency. Those surfaces which have got residual valency undergo chemical adsorption. In physical, you have learned that those surfaces which have got surface tension undergo physical adsorption, and those surfaces which have got residual valencies undergo chemical adsorption. So what is meant by chemical adsorption? It's a simple chemical adsorption means when there are present chemical bonds. Remember it. When there are present chemical bonds between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Now what is mean by here chemical bonds? Chemical bonds may be the covalent bonds. They may be covalent bonds or they may be the ionic bonds. So I can say here when there are ionic bonds or when there are covalent bonds between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, this type of adsorption is called as chemical adsorption, or it is also called as Langmuir adsorption. This can be called as Langmuir adsorption. This can be called as chemical adsorption, or it can be also called as chemi-adsorption. So there are few names to this as you have read. The first very important point I told you, chemical adsorption takes place on those surfaces which have got residual valence. The second concept is when there are chemical bonds between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. What is mean by chemical bond? They may be ionic bond, they may be covalent bond, but no book writes there may be the coordinate bond. It has been seen that there may be the covalent bond or there may be the ionic bond, irrespective of the coordinate bond. But remember, when there are covalent bonds or ionic bonds between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, that type of adsorption is called chemical adsorption. That can be also called as Langmuir adsorption, or it can be also called chemi-adsorption. The second important point is that during chemical adsorption there is release of 200 to 400 kilojoules per mole of energy. How much is released? It is 200 to 400 kilojoules per mole of energy. If you have read bonding in your previous class, you have learned that whenever a covalent bond is formed, there is release of 200 to 400 kilojoules per mole of energy. This enthalpy of adsorption, this enthalpy of chemical adsorption, I can say, denotes that there is the formation of the chemical bond between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. This signifies it's true that there can be the formation of the chemical bond between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. Now, next point, this type of adsorption is unilayer. Unilayer. There cannot be the formation of more than one layer. There can be the formation of only one layer. As you have read in physics adsorption, it's multi-layer, it's a unilayer. And next point is irreversible. This type of adsorption is irreversible. What does irreversible mean? When you break the bond between adsorbate and the adsorbent, they cannot reunite again. They cannot again go adsorption because of the breakdown of the chemical bond between the adsorbate and the adsorbent. And next important point is that with the increase in temperature, remember this point, with the increase in temperature, there is increase in chemical adsorption. What happens? Remember this point. With the increase in temperature, there is increase in chemical adsorption. This is because temperature provides necessary activation energy for the chemical process. As you know, chemical adsorption is a chemical process, so there is need of the activation energy. That activation energy is provided by means of temperature. Clear? So you have learned two important topics today. One is physical adsorption and second is the chemical adsorption. This is clear. Thank you. Wish you all the best.